Hi, and welcome back to one more tutorial on payroll application. Today I'm going to show you how to change the status of an employee from an active to resign or terminated or absconding. So, in order to do so, uh, select the employee who select the employee who's whom you want to change the status from active to resign. So I'm selecting, say, Francis over here. And in order to change the status, go to HR setting tab, click on edit. Here you can find employee status as active. From active, you can change to terminated, resign, or absconding. If suppose the employee is getting terminated, and so terminated options you have whether it is immediate or notice period. If it is immediate, you will only get option for to enter one date, okay, as it is immediate. But if it is a notice period, you will get two dates, that is a start date and end date. So you'll get the date tab, so calendar over here, select the dates, start date and end date. And during this period, when the employee is in notice period, while he's resigned or terminated, if you select the notice period and say like employee is getting no resignation or termination date is 2 months from today's date, so select start date and put the end date. Say assume that end date is December 31st. Okay, and during this period you want to process the payroll, so click on process payroll. Okay, now when you click on process payroll, it will again ask for start date and end date, that is during this from which date to which date you want to process the payroll. So you select this. Now in this case, suppose if the November month, now we are in the month of November, today is the last date, but now the payroll might now be processed for November month. So select the November 1st date, and the last date will be the notice end date, that is January 31st. And this is how, and then you save the employee. Okay, so now when you go on to the active employee list, you will not find Francis over here, but when you go to employee tab and check on the terminated employees, you can see Francis is terminated. Now, in this case, the contract of the employee is still in active stage. The employee is also shown as active, and also the contract of the employee is shown as active. Okay, so what we need to do is, till the time the employee end of service benefit is not processed, we will keep the employee contract as active. Once the employee the last date is that is the notice period ends, and the employee end of service benefit is processed, that is the time when you that is the time you can actually change the stage of the contract from running to cancel state. Okay, now here you have to understand one thing. You have, if it is cancelled but still the contract is showing as active. Okay, so what happened if the contract is still active is like you will find this employee in other areas when you're, say, like for example, if you go to leave management, sorry, and if you're creating just try to, let's put the name Francis. See, you can get Francis over here. But in case if we discard this, but in order to make sure that this employee does not appear in other selection areas, in other drop down, just go to HR payroll, terminated employees, and select Francis. Choose this contract, and from it is showing as active. Change the from active to archive. And now, if you go back and look in leave management, just to make sure that the employee does not appear, I'll select Francis. Wait, let's refresh. Let me check the status of the employee once again. He should not come. Contracted. Yeah. Also, archive the employee. Okay, so now if you go back and to leave management, do not find Francis. That is so. In this case, so you have to archive the contract as well as archive the employee. Now, if you want to see the archive employees, go to list view, filter by archive employees. Not in active, but in just a second. All employees. So we'll get the archive employees. So this is how you will change the status of an employee from, so that is from active to resign, terminated, and also to process the payroll. You need to checkbox the process payroll in HR setting, and at once you have completed the complete full and final of the employee, archive the employee contract, and also change the status stage of the contract from running to cancel, archive the contract, and then come to employee tab, employee, and also archive the employee. And if you want to restore this employee back, you can just click over here, restore. You can see it turns green, and you can restore this employee. Okay, if you can see that if I restore this employee, he will be in terminated. See, we got it in terminated. And if you want to if you want to change from terminated to active again, just go to HR. So his contract also appears, and go to HR settings, and from terminated, change the status back to active, delete this data, and save. No, not you cannot, because the dates are, so you need to duplicate the employee and create a new contract for him. So you cannot do this way. So you have to recreate the employee because the new code will be assigned to him. You cannot assign the same code because the database will save the old records under the employee code, older employee code. So you cannot restore it the employee that way. You have to recreate the employee in order to make him active again. So this is archive status itself. So it is from terminated, and changing notice period from first to this. Okay, this is how you will change. Now, if you want to restore this employee back, and then you will have to recreate, because if we try to restore this employee, we will not get the previous history and all. So it's the best way is to best practice is to recreate the employee. You can actually go over here, duplicate the employee, and give a new date of joining to this employee. So with this, I end this video, and any doubts, you can always call me on my number.